Hello everyone, I'm Sunanta from SNS College of Technology, Department of Mathematics. In this lecture video series, we are going to see what is testing of hypothesis. Under that, our first topic is testing of hypothesis for large samples. Let's see the learning objectives of this video. First one is understanding hypothesis testing framework. Second one is applying large sample test. Third one is interpretation of the result. And the final part is solving real life problem. So the first one is the first thing is why and what is the need to use hypothesis testing. For example, in the case a pharmaceutical company claims their new drug reduces recovery time to 12 days is on average. So as a healthcare provides needs to verify this claim before providing recommending it to patients. So the key question of the pharmaceutical claim is that we need to validate the claim scientifically. Next is the evidence. What are all the evidence we need? Next is how confident should we be in our decision? So we are in need of hypothesis testing to study the pharmaceutical company's claim, that is their population parameter. So we can't test their drug in each and every person before we test on some. So we are in need to take a sample. We have to give their drugs for them. If their claim is satisfied, then we can recommend it for others. So that is what the empathy is. So let us see the definition of hypothesis testing. So hypothesis testing is a statistical method used to make inferences about population parameter based on sample data. So involves making an assumption about a population parameter and then using sample evidences to determine whether this assumption is reasonable. So to do a hypothesis testing, we need some concepts. So they are first is we need to know the sample size. The sample size is nothing but the few samples which are taken from the population. So we cannot do any test on the population directly. So we take few data out of that and we will test our hypothesis on that. So if there are two types of samples, one is the large sample and another one is a small sample. When the size of the sample is less than 30, then it comes under small samples. If the size of the sample is greater than or equal to 30, then it comes under large sample tests. Next is hypothesis formulation. So in hypothesis formulation, we will frame H naught and H1, where this H naught is called null hypothesis. So the null hypothesis framed in such a way that the claim is possibly tested for rejection. So then the alternative hypothesis is opposite to that of the null hypothesis. Next is significant levels. So this significant level is nothing but 5% or 1% taken generally. Next is the power of the test. Here is where we determine whether to accept the claim or not. Next is define part. So as I have said already, the null hypothesis is framed in such a way that the claim is tested for possible rejection. Then the alternative hypothesis is the contradiction part of our null hypothesis. So then we need to judge two things. The first one is a type 1 error and the second one is type 2 error. Type 1 error is also known as alpha error, in which the null hypothesis is rejected when the claim is true. Next, type 2 error, this is also known as beta error. Here, this is when the null hypothesis accepted when it is the claim is false. Next comes the test statistic part, that is the testing of the data against the claim. So here the formula and the test we are using is z-test. So the z-test is nothing but a normal distribution. So z is equal to x minus mu naught by sigma divided by root n. When the sigma value is known, that is standard deviation is known. If the sample standard deviation is known, then we are need to use the formula z is equal to x minus mu naught divided by s divided by root n. So here are the two types of tails. One is two-tailed test and the other one is single-tailed test. Again, the one-tailed test is divided into right-tailed and the left-tailed. If when the hypothesis is that the population mean is different from the specific value, we use two-tailed test. If the population mean is greater than specified value or lesser than the specified value, we will use this one-tailed test. If it is greater, we use right-tailed. If it is less than, we'll use the left-tailed test. So next is the nidate part, in which testing procedure is given. So first one is to we are need to frame the hypothesis, that is H naught and H1. Next is to determine the significance level, that is to test at 1% or 5%. Next is the collection of data and testing the calculating the test statistic. That is from the given question, we'll find the data, collect data, and we'll test the test statistics. Next is comparison of the test statistic, that is with the critical value, we will test the uh, test statistic value, that is calculated value. Next is the taking decision. If the calculated value is greater than of the critical value, we will reject the null hypothesis. If the table value, that is critical value, is greater than that of the calculated value, we'll accept the null hypothesis. So here is one example in which a manufacturer claims at a mean weight of the cereal box is 500. Totally there are 36 boxes, and the finds a mean weight is 495 grams, and the standard deviation is 15 grams, and alpha is 0.05. So we are in need to check the claim. So the first step is to frame the null hypothesis H naught. So as the manufacturer claims that it is 500, we are taking H mu is equal to 500, and quality control inspector inspected it as 495. So it is not equal to that of 500. So we are taking H1 as mu not equal to 500. Then alpha is fixed at 5%, and the percentage is critical value will be 1.96 as per the ZS. So next, applying all the given data in the stochastic formula, z is equal to x minus mu naught divided by sigma divided by root n. So on substitution, we get the answer as minus 2.0. And our critical value is 1.96. So obviously from this, we can see that our critical value is smaller than that of our calculated value. Therefore, we are going to reject our H naught. That is, the manufacturer claim that the cereal boxes of 500 is false. Next, the approach. So from this only we find the significance level and the test statistics value. Here comes the quick summary of the video, in which first we have seen what is sample sizes. After that we have seen the empathy part, what is the need to use the testing of hypothesis. Next comes the define part, in which we have seen the what is uh, testing of hypothesis. Then we have formulated null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, level of significance, and we have seen the types of error and example problem.